The other day, I saw a LinkedIn post advertising a job. Not uncommon, although it's getting less and less common these days when you look at LinkedIn. But the job being advertised for a personal brand manager. This isn't the first time I've seen this, but there was a lot of hype around this job. You know, people tagging friends, loads and loads of interactions, lots of shares, reposts, all this sort of stuff about the job of a lifetime, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get on the inside, to learn about a business from this interesting social perspective. The idea of a job of a personal brand manager is what's interesting here. The links and ties and overlay and overlap with what we do here for clients from an employer brand perspective, to leverage the opportunity to really get out there, to use these platforms to speak openly to people, to candidates, to give them real CEOs who have invested time and understand the importance of this need to be present online. So I wanted to pick the brains of our employer brand team just to see what they thought of it, really, if they'd been thinking about it, what they'd seen, what they'd heard, because I think it's an interesting conversation. There's something to be said for brand ambassadorship when it comes from the very top. So that's what we're going to look at.
I don't know, I've got mixed feelings about it. I understand why people want to do it, because if they've found success through being themselves and having those values, and then they just don't have the time to do that anymore because they're so successful and they're doing all these different things, but they want to stay connected to their audience. I guess that's the objective, but then to me it doesn't feel genuine. Personal brand and its relationship to employer brand is quite interesting, because you're either going to have people who are really bought into your mission and your values and what you do as an organisation, so they're naturally going to align with those values and they're naturally going to go out and advocate for that, and it's going to be part of their brand as well because they have those shared values. But then there are people who work for companies where that probably isn't the case. So like if you're a HR professional, you might be really motivated and driven by a set of HR values or a HR philosophy that you're trying to put into an organisation, but it doesn't mean that you agree with the organisation that you work for or what they're trying to achieve. There's so much risk of being cancelled now as well, and like saying something wrong, so they're putting a lot of trust in people to go and represent them, and then if something does blow up, do they take the responsibility for it?
How would you differentiate between a personal brand and someone just being themselves online? Like, what do you look for to know, oh, this is someone's personal brand? Candidates kind of want to know who they're applying for. They want to know that you're not just saying something online and then maybe doing another thing behind the scenes that's completely, opposite to that. More and more wanting things like CEO visibility. So they want to hear from the people at the top. They want to hear from senior leaders. They don't just want to see maybe a quote from the CEO and just like a one-off message. They want to hear from them.
Personal branding is massively exploding at the moment as a revenue stream from businesses that either that are expanding into that space or that are specializing within it. There are countless agencies, several of which are doing some really interesting and exciting work at the moment, but the focus at the moment on the personal brand, which is becoming more effective because the barrier to developing content on key channels where audiences can be curated and gathered is so low. So if you want to invest in it, there are people that are very quickly able to support you with that and create that connection to your audience in a way that that's quicker and more accessible than it ever has been.